Most leaders think they're great at what they do, but if you ask the people who interact with them every day, the story would sound very different. Because there's a difference between being viewed as just another manager and the one being recognized as the true leader at the highest level. Because at the top level, leadership isn't about tasks or targets. It's walking into a room where people already know your name and the positive impact you bring, even if they've never met you in person before. It's being the leader people across the entire organization always point to as the model to become. It's the one your team wants in the meeting when their biggest deals are on the line. Because they know when you're there, the outcome changes. That's the true standard that you are measured against. And the truth is, very few ever get there. I was a top performing wealth advisor, leader, and executive in the wealth management industry for 23 consecutive years, building and running multi-billion-dollar businesses. Few ever get insider access to what it really takes to reach the top levels in this business. I launched EliteVate to change that. This is my mission. So what are you going to learn from today's conversation? 1, why most managers never become the best leaders. 2, why most leaders get trapped managing activity and confuse this effort with real impact. 3, what are the 7 pillars you need to be the very best at? Finally, how to stop managing for just today and build a legacy that endures long after you're gone. The title didn't make you a leader, and neither did the promotion, because leadership isn't automatic. It's not handed out with a reporting line or an office. It's earned through how you're perceived, how your reputation travels, and how people experience being led by you. And without that, you're not leading. You're just managing with a bigger desk. And here's the truth. Most firms don't actually develop their leaders. They stretch them. They pile on responsibility, pressure, reporting, but they don't invest in their growth. No one is giving you the tools to coach at a higher level or the systems to build something that lasts. Instead, you're expected to hold models together that are already cracked. So what happens? Leaders get pulled into the same cycle as their advisors. Do more with less. Push the next campaign. Keep the optics clean. Manage up or manage out. And on paper, it all looks like progress. Calendars are packed. Dashboards are updated. Campaigns are launched. But here's the problem. None of this builds anything. It doesn't grow your advisor. It doesn't transform your markets. It doesn't create the kind of culture people fight to be part of. And that's where most leaders stop. They get trapped managing activity instead of building environments. They confuse effort with impact. And they convince themselves that being busy equals being effective. But let's be honest, that's not leadership. All that is administration. And if that's all you're doing, you're not leaving anything behind. And here's the real test. If you walked away tomorrow, what would happen? Would your team be stronger because of the way you built them? Would your market look different a year from now because of the systems you put in place? Or would someone else step in, run the same meetings, push the same reports, and nothing really changes? And that's the gap. Not hours, not effort, but the absence of clarity, development, and depth. And that's why most leaders never reach their potential. And I understand that. When I stepped out of my advisor role into leadership, I didn't have all the answers. I've been a top advisor running my own business with structure and discipline. But leadership is totally different because success in one seat doesn't automatically transfer to the next. And suddenly, it wasn't about my production anymore. It was about how I could elevate the entire team, an entire market. And the truth is, no one really guided me through it. Beyond a few surface level check-ins, there was no roadmap. No one was showing me how to build leaders, how to create systems that lasted, or know how to earn credibility across an entire firm. I had to figure it out. At first, I looked to other leaders for clues, but what I found wasn't encouraging. Some were polished, great in front of a room, sharp reports, strong optics, but their markets slipped as soon as they left. Their teams never developed, and their reputations, they weren't admired, they were tolerated. And that's where I realized I couldn't copy what I saw. If I was going to succeed as a leader, I had to rebuild myself just like I had as an advisor. New seat, new requirements. I wasn't going to lean on old skills and hope they translated. So I built a standard for myself every year without fail. I forced myself to take an honest assessment. Where I had not built the depth I needed yet. What I had not mastered. What was I avoiding? And I went deep. 1 or 2 things every year. That was the focus. Not with more hours. Not with a busier calendar. With discipline, with clarity, and with intent. And that's how I sustained performance across every level I sat in. And not because I was flawless, not because I relied on talent or title, but because I had to re-earn it year after year through that process. And most leaders never do this. They settle into their role, they convince themselves that title makes them credible. They lean on activity and optics to prove that they're in control, but they never take a hard look at where they're underdeveloped. And that's why they plateau or collapse when the environment shifts. For me, the fundamentals became clear. Clarity is direction, the ability to develop people, the discipline to build systems, and the credibility that comes from how your reputation is read across the firm. Those were the non-negotiables I had to own, and they became the foundation for everything else. Because once you build from there, the real characteristics of exceptional leadership start to take shape. So what you're going to hear about isn't pulled from a book or a seminar. It's the framework I built for myself in the field, running multi-billion-dollar businesses across more than 240 locations and sustaining 23 consecutive years of top national performance. These are the characteristics I had to master to stay at that level. They're the same ones that separate managers who only hold a seat from leaders whose reputations last. And I'm not sharing this with you to motivate you. I'm sharing it to make the difference clear between managing activity and building leadership that transforms people, markets, and entire organizations. So if you ever wondered why some leaders are remembered and others replaced without a second thought, this is the difference. So let's break it down. There are 7 pillars of exceptional leadership. Number 1, what's your presence and reputation? Do people know your name, even if they never met you? Presence isn't about volume or visibility. It comes from results that speak for themselves and from the way you carry yourself when it matters. In every organization, certain leaders are viewed as the model to aspire to become. Presence in the room, reputation across the firm. That combination is what sets them apart. Then you have your transformational impact and clarity. Are you just managing or are you transforming? Many leaders stay focused on activity. They report numbers, push campaigns, and keep things in motion. But motion doesn't change. The same problems resurface. The same gaps remain. Transformational leaders cut through that cycle. They rebuild systems, reset direction, establish clarity that gives people confidence in the decisions being made and in the direction they're moving with you. What about culture and people experience? What does it actually feel like to work under you? Do people feel ownership? Do they feel accountable? Do they feel like they're progressing in their careers? Leadership isn't measured in dashboards and reports. It's measured in the environment people experience every day. The strongest leaders create culture where people want to stay, where growth is expected, and where performance rises because the environment demands it. How do people view your strategic foresight and business acumen? Do you see what's coming next and how to prepare for it? Many leaders stop at vision. They talk about the future, but can't translate it into execution. Others get stuck in the details. They know the numbers, but can't connect them to the broader strategy. Foresight without execution is empty. Execution without foresight is short-sighted. The best leaders, they do both. They think strategically about where the business is going, but they understand the work their people do and what it takes to get it done. That combination makes direction credible and execution possible. And when there's change, what's your resilience and adaptability? How do you respond when everything shifts? When markets change, strategies fail, and pressure rises? Many leaders react by scrambling. They fracture under the weight. Exceptional leaders, they don't. They adapt with discipline, steady their teams, and adjust course without losing direction. Because resilience is not just about surviving challenges. It's about removing the noise, cutting the distractions, and remaining the steady hand the team can rely on no matter the conditions. What about your consistency and integrity? Do people know what to expect from you? Consistency isn't always about routine. It's about staying the course with conviction. Too many leaders change direction every time short-term results dip. Strong leaders hold the line, giving their teams confidence in the decisions being made and the direction being followed. Integrity is what reinforces that consistency. It's the standard that ensures decisions aren't just convenient, but principled. Together, consistency and integrity make leaders credible and dependable, the kind people will follow with trust. And then finally, legacy. What will people say about working under you after you're gone? Most leaders are forgotten as soon as the next one arrives, because they never made a lasting impact on the people they led. Real legacy isn't about ego or tenure, it's about people. The ones who still bring up your name as a standard they measure every future leader against. And the future leaders who have worked with you, they'll carry forward the convictions and examples you set because they want to become that kind of leader. That is the ultimate measure of leadership. So if you internalize and apply these pillars, everything about your leadership will change. Your strategy will sharpen. Your execution, it will improve. Your teams, they'll become stronger, more accountable, and more engaged. You'll stop reacting to problems and start building environments that prevent them. You'll stop managing activity and start leading in a way that transforms people and performance. And that's the difference these traits create. Leadership at this level isn't about effort, activity, or titles. It's about what you build and the legacy you leave behind. One day, people will talk about what it was like to work under you. They'll either say you managed them, or they'll say you transformed them. They'll either forget you, or they'll remember you as a leader who raised the bar and set the standard others still measure against. I've shown you the difference. I've given you the clarity and the pillars to start. Now the decision is yours. Will you build that type of leadership or settle for being just another manager in the seat? Every week, I'll dive deeper into the critical moves to help leaders and advisors break through plateaus and lead at the levels they're built for. We'll cut through the fluff, no hype, no theory, just strategy, psychology, and execution. If this message hits home, make sure you're following along. You're in the right place, whether you're leading teams, running a book, or scaling a firm. This is EliteVate. Let's cut through the noise and build something that actually lasts.